Apple Watch Series 1 move to obsolete list, what it means for you. In a significant move that may surprise many, Apple has officially added the Apple Watch Series 1 to its list of obsolete devices. This change marks a transition from its previous classification as vintage, which it received just last month in October 2023. But what does it really mean when a device is labeled as obsolete? Let's dive into the details. Apple's obsolete list is reserved for products that have not been sold for over 7 years. The Apple Watch Series 1, which was initially launched alongside the Series 2 models, served as an upgrade to the original Apple Watch. While it closely resembled its predecessor, the Series 1 featured a more powerful S1P processor, enhancing its performance. Understanding vintage versus obsolete. To clarify the distinctions between vintage and obsolete products, Apple provides some helpful definitions on its website. Vintage products are those that have not been manufactured for more than 5 years, but less than 7 years. For these vintage items, Apple has ceased hardware service with a few notable exceptions. Mac products purchased in Turkey. Owners can still access service and parts through Apple service providers within the country. California residents, certain vintage products, including Macs, iPods, and iPhones, can receive service from Apple retail stores or by contacting AppleCare at 1-800 APL Care, as mandated by state law. On the other hand, obsolete products are those that were discontinued more than 7 years ago. Interestingly, all Monster-branded Beats products fall into this category, regardless of their purchase date. For obsolete items, Apple has completely halted all hardware service, leaving no room for exceptions. This means that service providers cannot order parts for these devices, and all Apple retail stores, along with regions in Canada, Europe, Latin America, and Asia Pacific, treat products on the U.S. vintage list as obsolete. What's next for Apple? As we look ahead, Apple is also warning investors about a potential end to its lucrative revenue-sharing agreement with Google regarding search engine services. This development could have significant implications for the company's financial landscape. So, what do you think about Apple's decision to classify the Series 1 as obsolete? Do you believe that older devices should still receive some level of support, or is it time for users to upgrade? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Apple Watch Series 1 declared obsolete. Time to upgrade? The Apple Watch Series 1 has officially been labeled as obsolete, and this news might come as a surprise to many. But why does this matter? Let's dive into the history of this device to understand its significance. Apple recently added the second-generation Apple Watch Series 1, which first hit the market in 2016, to its list of obsolete products. You might wonder, what qualifies it as a second-generation device? To clarify, we need to rewind a bit. The original Apple Watch made its debut in September 2014, and became available for purchase in April 2015. Fast forward to September 2016, and Apple unveiled 2 new models, the Series 1 and Series 2. The original model from 2015 is now referred to as the first generation, or Series 0, as Apple has consistently used the Series numbering system since then. So, what sets the Series 0 apart from the Series 1? Essentially, the Series 1 was a refreshed version of the Series 0, with the primary upgrade being a faster CPU. To break it down further, here are the 3 distinct system and packages for these models. Series 0, S1, Series 1, S1P, Series 2, S2. Interestingly, both the Series 1 and Series 2 were equipped with the same enhanced CPU, which was an improvement over the Series 0. This meant that the Series 1 was marketed as a more affordable alternative to the Series 2. The Series 2 boasted several advantages, including built-in GPS and enhanced water resistance, allowing it to withstand depths of up to 50 meters. In terms of design, the Series 1 was available only in aluminum cases with finishes like silver, space gray, gold, and rose gold. In contrast, the Series 2 offered the same aluminum finishes, but also included stainless steel options in silver and space black, and even ceramic for the Edition models, which replaced the previous 18K gold cases. Additionally, there were special Nike models in silver and space gray aluminum for the Series 2. In September 2017, Apple phased out the Series 2 following the launch of the Series 3, but the Series 1 continued to be sold for another year at a reduced price, albeit without the gold and rose gold finishes. This explains why the Series 2 was deemed obsolete before the Series 1. Ultimately, the Series 1 was discontinued in September 2018. When Apple introduced the Series 4, marking nearly 7 years since it was last available for purchase. According to Apple's policy, a product is classified as obsolete 7 years after it has been last sold. So, if you're still using an Apple Watch Series 1, it might be time to consider an upgrade. With Apple no longer supplying parts for obsolete products, repairing your device could become increasingly difficult. But here's where it gets controversial. Share your thoughts in the comments. Apple Watch Series 1-2 now officially obsolete. What you need to know. Today marks a significant milestone for the Apple Watch Series 1, which has officially been declared obsolete by Apple 5 years after being discontinued. But hold on! Isn't the Series 1 the same as the second-generation Apple Watch? Let's dive into the details and clear up any confusion. When Apple first introduced the Apple Watch back in 2015, it was simply known as the Apple Watch, without any series designation. It wasn't until later models were released that Apple started labeling them as Series 1, 2, and so on. So when we talk about the Series 1, we're actually referring to the second-generation Apple Watch. Got it? Now, let's talk about what it means for a product to be deemed obsolete by Apple. Essentially, once a product reaches this status, Apple no longer provides hardware service or spare parts for it. However, there's a catch. The Series 1 is still considered vintage, meaning that authorized Apple service providers can still offer repairs for another 5 years, provided they have the necessary parts in stock. So what does this mean for owners of the Apple Watch Series 1? Well, if your device is still working fine, there's no need to panic. You can continue using it without any issues. However, if you encounter any hardware problems, you may find it difficult to get them fixed, especially as time goes on and the availability of spare parts dwindles. But here's where it gets controversial. Some argue that Apple's obsolescence policy is a form of planned obsolescence, designed to force consumers to upgrade to newer models. Others see it as a necessary step to ensure the quality and safety of their products. What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below. While the Series 1 may be obsolete, it still holds a special place in the hearts of many Apple fans. After all, it was the first wearable device to bear the iconic Apple logo, paving the way for future generations of smartwatches. So, even if you can't get it repaired anymore, you can still cherish it as a piece of Apple history. At startupnews.fyi, we pride ourselves on delivering accurate and unbiased news to our readers. We understand that some of the investors we feature may have connections to other businesses, including competitors or companies we write about. However, we assure you that this will not impact the integrity or impartiality of our reporting. Our commitment to ethical standards and transparency remains unwavering. Thank you for your continued trust and support. If you encounter any glitches on our website during the ongoing upgradation, please feel free to reach out to us at office@startupnews.fyi. Stay tuned for more updates.